Welcome to MarkGuy, where we explore self-improvement, motivation, habits, mindset. In today's episode, we're discussing she's lost interest, how to attract her again and get results. You know what no one tells you? When she pulls away, when those texts get shorter and the warmth drains from her voice, your instinct to chase harder is exactly what guarantees you'll lose her forever. You think you're fighting for love, but you're actually suffocating the last breath of attraction she had left. Picture this scene that's playing out in bedrooms across the world right now. It's 11:47 p.m. and you're staring at your phone screen, thumb hovering over her name in your contacts. She hasn't responded to your last 3 messages. Not with words anyway. Those blue check marks tell you everything. She read them. She chose silence. Your chest feels hollow, like someone carved out your ribs and left an echo chamber where your confidence used to live. You draft another message, delete it, draft again. Each version more desperate than the last. Hey, just checking if you're okay? Delete. Can we talk? Delete. I miss us. Your thumb trembles as you hit send on that one, immediately regretting it. The typing indicator appears for 3 seconds. Your heart explodes, then disappears. Nothing. And in that nothing, you feel yourself shrinking, becoming less of the man she once couldn't stop touching. Let me paint you the real picture of what's happening in her mind right now. This isn't about you being inadequate. It's about a psychological phenomenon called habituation. The same neural adaptation that makes you stop noticing your cologne after 5 minutes of wearing it. When you first met her, you were an unknown variable in her emotional equation. Your attention was scarce, valuable, something she had to earn. Every text from you triggered a dopamine spike in her brain's reward center. But here's where it gets darker. The moment you became predictable, the moment she could set her watch by your good morning texts and count on your availability like sunrise, you transformed from a prize into furniture. Comfortable furniture, maybe. But furniture doesn't make hearts race. The male brain, when faced with romantic rejection, activates the same regions associated with physical pain and cocaine withdrawal. This isn't metaphorical. fMRI scans show the anterior cingulate cortex lighting up like a Christmas tree. Your brain literally cannot distinguish between her pulling away and someone ripping your arm off. So what do? You double down on the very behaviors that pushed her away. You text more. You analyze her social media. You become a detective of her emotions, searching for clues in the timestamp of her last online appearance. You think you're being romantic, persistent, devoted. But through her eyes, you're revealing yourself as a man whose entire emotional ecosystem depends on her validation. And nothing, absolutely nothing, is less attractive than a man who needs a woman more than he needs his own respect. Phase 1 of losing her started months ago, when you stopped being the man she met. Remember him? That guy had plans that didn't revolve around her schedule. He had opinions that weren't focus grouped through her reactions. He could go 3 days without texting because he was genuinely busy building something that mattered. But comfort made you soft. Love made you lazy. You traded your edge for security, thinking relationships were about reaching a destination instead of maintaining velocity. You stopped going to the gym because she loves you anyway. You canceled plans with friends because she's more important. You let your ambitions gather dust because being with her is enough. Except it's not enough. Not for her. Because the man she fell for was climbing mountains. And now you're asking her to be excited about a guy who's set up permanent camp at base level. Here's a psychological truth that will feel like swallowing glass. Intermittent reinforcement creates stronger attachment than consistent availability. It's the same principle that keeps people pulling slot machine levers until 4 a.m. When rewards are unpredictable, our brains become obsessed with cracking the pattern. This is why the guy who texts her back immediately gets forgotten, while the one who sometimes takes 2 days drives her crazy. You became a fixed schedule reinforcement, as reliable and exciting as a government job. She doesn't wonder about you anymore, because there's nothing left to wonder about. But here's where it hurts the most. While you're sitting there calculating the perfect time to text her, Not too early, not too late, not too eager, not too cold. She's not thinking about you at all. Her mind has already started the process psychologists call cognitive decoupling. She's mentally rehearsing life without you, testing the waters of emotional independence. Every time you reach out with another "I miss you" or "Can we talk?", you're not pulling her back. You're confirming her decision to leave. Because your panic tells her everything she needs to know. You have no other options. You have no other life. You have no other source of validation. And a man without options is like a restaurant with no other customers. Even if the food is decent, something must be wrong if nobody else wants to eat there. Phase 2 is where most men completely destroy any chance of rekindling attraction. This is the bargaining phase, where you become a used car salesman of your own relationship. I'll change. You promise. Tell me what you need. You start doing dishes you ignored for months. You buy flowers for the first time since her birthday. You suggest couples therapy, date nights, weekend getaways. You become a relationship renovation contractor, desperately trying to fix a house she's already decided to leave. But attraction isn't a negotiation. It's not a problem to be solved or a deal to be closed. It's a primal response that happens below conscious thought, in the ancient parts of her brain that don't give a damn about your promises or your logic or your 14-point plan for relationship improvement. You want to know why she fell for you in the first place? It wasn't your availability. It wasn't your devotion. It was the gap between who you were and who she could make you become. Women are attracted to potential energy, not kinetic energy. They want to be the catalyst that transforms a powerful man into something even greater. But you handed her a finished product. Worse, a deteriorating one. You became a solved equation, a completed puzzle, a book she's already read. The mystery died. The challenge evaporated. And with it, her investment in the outcome. This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding the fundamental architecture of desire. Attraction operates on tension, and tension requires distance. Think about a guitar string. Too loose, and it makes no sound. Too tight, and it snaps. But at the perfect tension? Music. You loosened yourself until you became ambient noise in her life. Background music she could tune out while scrolling her phone. Your constant presence became absence. Your endless words became silence. Your everything became nothing. Here's what's actually happening in her brain when you chase her. Every text you send after she's pulled away activates her avoidance system. The amygdala, her brain's alarm center, starts associating you with pressure, obligation, and emotional labor. You become a problem to be managed rather than a man to be desired. Meanwhile, she's likely noticing other men who remind her of who you used to be. Men who don't text back immediately. Men who have somewhere else to be. Men whose attention feels like a gift rather than a guarantee. She's not comparing you to them. She's comparing you to your former self, and you're losing to your own ghost. But here's where it gets even darker. The more you chase, the more she creates a narrative that justifies her distance. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance reduction. Her brain needs to align her actions with her self-image as a good person. So she starts rewriting history. Those quirks she used to find charming, now they're red flags she ignored. That passionate night you both called magical, she's wondering if she was just lonely. The relationship you thought was building toward forever, she's reframing it as a lesson learned. Your pursuit isn't changing her mind. It's giving her more evidence for the case she's building against you. Phase 3 is where the real reckoning happens. It's 3 a.m. now, weeks after that last unanswered text. You've finally stopped reaching out, not from strength, but from exhaustion. You're lying in bed, phone face down, trying to avoid the temptation to check if she's posted anything. The silence is so loud it has texture. Your chest feels like someone poured concrete where your heart used to be. And then it hits you, the truth you've been avoiding. She didn't leave you. She left the version of herself you reflected. When she looked at you in those final months, she saw a mirror showing her a future she didn't want. A life of predictable dinners and recycled conversations. A relationship where growth went to die. A love that felt more like life insurance than living. You became the embodiment of her fear of settling, of becoming ordinary, of choosing safety over possibility. Every time you said, "I love you," she heard, "This is as good as it gets." Every time you planned another quiet night in, she felt the walls of her potential life closing in. The cruelest irony? The moment you stop chasing, the moment you finally let go and start rebuilding yourself, that's when you become attractive again. Not to her necessarily. That ship has likely sailed into waters you'll never chart again. But to the next woman who meets the improved version of you. The one who goes to the gym, not to win someone back, but because he respects his body. The one who builds his career not to impress anyone, but because ambition is his oxygen. The one who doesn't text back immediately, because he's genuinely engaged in something more important than his phone. You want to know how to attract her again? Stop trying to attract her. Start attracting yourself. Become so fascinated by your own growth that you forget to check if she's watching. Build something so compelling that your attention becomes scarce by default, not by strategy. The paradox of attraction is that it flows toward those who don't need it. Water seeks its own level, and desperate energy repels everything it touches. Here's what no relationship expert will tell you because it doesn't sell books or coaching sessions. Sometimes losing her is the only way to find yourself. Your relationship didn't die from lack of love. It died from lack of polarity. You became the same temperature as the room, invisible and unfelt. She needed a man who could create weather systems, not someone who just checks the forecast. She needed someone who could make her feel the full spectrum of emotions, not just the beige comfort of reliability. This isn't about becoming an asshole. It's about understanding that nice and weak are not the same thing. Just as kind and spineless are not synonyms. You can be good to a woman without being a doormat. You can be loving without being suffocating. You can be committed without being codependent. But you chose the path of least resistance, thinking relationships were about minimizing conflict instead of maximizing growth. You chose comfort over challenge, security over excitement, predictability over passion. And in doing so, you chose the slow death of her desire. Let me tell you what's happening right now in this very moment as you listen to these words. Part of you is angry at her, at me, at the truth that's settling in your stomach like cold stone. Part of you is desperate to prove this wrong, to find the exception, the strategy, the magic words that will make her remember why she chose you. But the biggest part of you, the part that's been drowning in confusion for months, finally understands. You've been trying to negotiate with gravity, argue with physics, debate with nature itself. Attraction is not a choice, it's a response, and you cannot negotiate someone into responding to you. The path forward isn't about winning her back. It's about becoming someone who doesn't need to win anyone back. It's about building a life so rich that her absence becomes a footnote, not the entire story. It's about developing such a strong sense of self that rejection becomes redirection, not destruction. Because here's the ultimate truth. The version of you that could get her back wouldn't want her back. He'd understand that anyone who could lose interest in him while he was pouring everything into the relationship isn't his person. His person would fight alongside him through the low points, not abandon ship when the waters got still. You think you want her to text you right now to say she made a mistake, to come back. But what you really want is to stop feeling like your worth is determined by whether someone else chooses you. You want to stop feeling like a half person looking for someone else to complete you. You want to feel whole again, powerful again, valuable again. And none of that comes from her validation. It comes from finally understanding that you've been looking for yourself in someone else's eyes. Here's your homework, though I know most of you won't do it because it requires actual change, not just emotional masturbation. Delete her number, not to play hard to get, but because you need to get hard to reach, even for yourself. Stop checking her social media. Your brain is literally addicted to the pain, and you're the dealer feeding your own destruction. Start something new tomorrow. A martial art, a business, a creative project. Something that demands your full presence and pays you back in growth, not just comfort. And most importantly, stop telling yourself the story where you're the victim and she's the villain. You're both just humans who forgot that love requires two individuals, not one entity split in half. The next time you feel that urge to reach out, to check in, to see if maybe she misses you too, remember this. Every moment you spend trying to resurrect the past is a moment stolen from building your future. Every ounce of energy you pour into analyzing what went wrong is energy you could invest in becoming someone for whom things go right. She's already moving forward, creating new memories, possibly with someone who represents everything you stopped being. And while that thought might feel like swallowing broken glass right now, one day, sooner than you think if you do the work, it won't matter at all. Because the real tragedy isn't that she lost interest. It's that you lost yourself trying to keep it. You became a man whose entire identity was wrapped up in being chosen by someone else. You forgot that you're supposed to be the main character in your own story, not a supporting actor in hers. You forgot that masculine energy creates, builds, pushes forward. It doesn't sit by the phone, waiting for permission to exist. This is the cold truth about relationships that nobody wants to hear. The moment you need someone more than you need your own growth is the moment you've already lost them. Not because they're cruel or calculating, but because need is the opposite of attraction. Need is pressure. Need is weight. Need is a drowning person pulling their rescuer under with them. Want, desire, choice. These create attraction. Need destroys it. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to finish listening to this, and for about 10 minutes, you're going to feel fired up, ready to change, ready to become the man who doesn't chase, who builds, who creates his own weather. Then your phone will buzz, and even though it's not her, your heart will jump. You'll check it anyway, and slowly, that motivation will fade, and you'll be back to scrolling through old photos, wondering if maybe, just maybe, one more text might change everything.